Happy Friday, everybody. It's another Friday Live, and just wanted to come on here real quick and talk. Okay, well, you probably already know that I am a very curious learner, which means I'm always reading books, listening to podcasts, doing all kinds of things just to try to improve myself. And today, I happen to be on a coaching call, and one of my coaches made the comment, um, what if that is not true? And that just really hit me like a two before to the head. And so I wanted to come on here and talk about it a little bit today. So that's going to be the main focus of this live video. And like with any other live video, if you're on with me live, type something in the chat. Let me know that you're here with me. Because also usually once I've kind of finished talking about what I was going to talk about, I like to take time to answer questions that people have. So if you're here with me, if you have questions about what I'm saying or questions about anything else that I can answer for you, then go ahead and leave a comment. So why did that hit me like a two before to the head? Well, most of what we believe and what we think is true is not actually true. Have you ever stopped to think about that? And you might be saying, oh, come on, Jason, I know, right? But let me give you a couple of examples. Let's say 150 years ago, if you were a physicist, right, you believed in Newtonian physics, those physical laws that Sir Isaac Newton came up with in the, I believe, 1600s. For every action, there is an opposite and equal reaction, right? Some of those Newtonian physics laws that we learned. Well, people believed that for a very long time. And then eventually, right, along comes Albert Einstein with E equals mc squared and the theory of relativity. And that really blew up and shook the foundation of people in physics, right? So what we thought was true turned out not to be true later on. What about before? When people believed that the world was flat. A lot of people used to believe that if you go far enough, you're going to fall off the edge of the earth. A lot of people believed that for a long time. Now we know that's not true, right? And so, where that ended up, getting me is that so much of the time we end up getting stuck in what I call echo chambers. Okay. So, again, one of the podcasts this week was about echo chambers and the fact that a lot of times we surround ourselves with people that believe the same things we do. And that makes us feel safe because other people are, telling us that what we believe is true. That makes us feel safe. And so we tend to like to do that. But, is everything that we believe or is everything that somebody else says, is that really true? Well, if it were, we wouldn't have all these disagreements on Facebook, right? But again, people surround themselves with certain people. They believe that the world is this way or that way because they believe it is that way. It's what they've been taught. It's what they choose to believe. But what if some of those things that you believe are not actually true? Would you change your life? Would you do things different? Would you have the courage to actually stand up and do things a little bit differently because of that? And, this can be in both our personal as well as our professional lives. Okay. That a lot of things that for a long time we might have thought are true, they're not actually true. And so, again, that's why this hit me like a two before in the head. Okay. So let me talk about how does this tie back to some of the podcasts this week? Well, I told you one of them is about echo chambers. Because I've talked about that before. I like talking about that because I have found myself in echo chambers through most of my life, right? And as I start questioning some of those things that I believe, I realize that some of those things that have been holding me back are not actually true anyway. So why am I letting something that is not true hold me back? That doesn't make a lot of sense when you think about it logically, right? But again, I know I am not the only one that feels this way, right? A lot of people do that. We choose to hold ourselves back when we don't have to. Okay. The other episode this week was about imposter syndrome. And so, again, right, a lot of people are afraid that somebody is going to find out that, that you don't know as much as they think you know. And you're afraid that if people find that out, that they're going to reject you, that they're not going to like you, that they're not going to accept you, that they're going to push you outside of the group, and that's going to make you be unsafe, right? And we all have one of the fears that humans have is that fear of abandonment or fear of rejection. And it's a real fear, folks. I mean, it's something that we all struggle with and deal with. But, are we really going to be rejected by somebody and not loved just because they find out that we don't know as much as we think we do? Probably not, right? And so, again, that's one of those beliefs or one of those things that we choose to believe that really isn't true. And it holds us back, right? So again, there's a lot of people that are afraid, oh, if people found out that I'm not as good as I am, they're not going to love me anymore. Well, imposter syndrome affects 70 to 80% of people in the population. And it's not just the everyday Joes. This goes along with everybody. In fact, I remember listening to an episode with Sir Paul McCartney. Okay. Paul McCartney, a Beatle. Okay. And he also has imposter syndrome. He's afraid that people aren't going to like him. I mean, come on, what's not to like? He's Paul McCartney. He's a Beatle. He's amazing, right? But even he feels that way. And it's the same way, a lot of the people that you see that are actors, actresses, comedians, musicians. I've heard this a lot from musicians, and again, these are people that are award winning musicians. They feel the same way. And so, again, if something is holding you back in your life, maybe stop and ask yourself, well, is what's holding me back, is what I'm afraid of, is that even really real? Is it true? Because a lot of times it's not going to be. Okay, I remember a time when I was a little kid. Um, I must have been somewhere between the age of 5 and 8 because of the house that we were living in at the time. And I remember waking up in the middle of the night, like little kids do, and you're afraid of the dark, right? Why are we afraid of the dark? I don't know why we're afraid of the dark, but I was afraid of the dark. And so I remember waking up and looking over. I had this art easel in my room, and there was something draped over it, like a blanket or something like that. And as I looked over, I got very scared. And why did I get scared? Because it looked like a bear to me, one of those big animals, a bear, rawr, kind of thing. And I was very scared because I thought that there was a bear in my room and it was going to eat me. Now, again, if I stopped and I say, well, what if it's not a bear? Well, if it's not a bear, it doesn't matter, right? There's nothing to be afraid of. And how much of the time in our life do we end up doing that? Where we hold ourselves back, we believe things that really aren't true. And I understand sometimes it's hard to actually question some of the things that you believe because they've been ingrained in you. We're afraid that if we believe something different than other people, we believe that they're going to reject us. And the reality is, they're probably not going to reject you. Okay. In fact, I was talking with one of my friends this week who happens to be gay. Okay. And one of the biggest fears of people when they come out of the closet is they are afraid that their parents will no longer love them, that their parents will no longer accept them. And that is one of the reasons why it takes some people years to come out of the closet, because they feel this guilt, they feel this shame because, maybe they grew up in a house where it wasn't okay to be gay. But at the end of the day, usually when people come out, do their parents say, "Well, I don't love you anymore. You're no longer my son"? Okay, I know that happens some of the time, but probably 90+% of the time, the parents don't care. You're my child. I love you. I don't care, right? But we hold ourselves back so much of the time from being who we are and doing what we want to do because we believe a bunch of things that aren't really true. So, one of my jobs as I'm going through this same discovery that everyone else is to come on here and share with you some of the things that probably aren't true. And they're things, again, that maybe they're myths that you believe, that you don't really need to believe anymore if you want to move forward in your life. Now, if you want to stay stuck in your life, if you want to believe the things that you believe and stay stuck where you are, that's fine. I'm okay with that. But I'm just going to share more and more about some of these different myths that people have that are holding them back. Because honestly, it's hurting people. It's causing them to feel depressed, to be in fear and anxiety. And we don't need to be in that. Okay. So, anyway, that's what I wanted to come on here and talk a little bit about today in this live. So, again, if you're on with me live, post something in the comment area. Let me know that you're here. And again, I know sometimes there's a little bit of a delay in those comments coming through from the different services. But if you're here, let me know, because I'd love to answer any questions that you have about this or about anything else that I can answer or share with you today. All right. Check the comments here. All right, I'm not seeing anything come through right now. So if you end up, again, if you're here with me, let me know by typing something in the comment area so I can see that come through. If you have a question, let me know, because I'm here. I've got a few more minutes that I can stay and actually answer questions as well. But if you end up watching this video afterwards, when it's no longer live, then go ahead and hit me up, put something in the comments as well, and I'll come back and take a look at the comments afterwards as well. Hey Shelby, I see that you are on with me right now too. So thanks, Jason. You are welcome, Shelby. Let me read through this here. You really needed to hear this topic today. Well, that's why I'm here. I'm here to support, right? The fact that you happen to be online and hear this video right now, and it happens to be exactly what it was that you needed to hear. Congratulations, girl, right? I'm here. I'm here to help, right? Okay, imposter syndrome, right? Fear of being proved wrong. Yeah. Okay. So let me talk a little bit about this. And again, I did a whole whole podcast episode on this, but what you are feeling is natural. It is normal to feel that way. Because again, as I said, one of the two fears that humans have, and again, it's a perceived fear, but it's real to us as we are feeling it, right? And one of the acronyms that I've heard, fear is spelled FEAR. Well, fear is really false expectations that appear real. And so a lot of times those fears that we have, or the fact that we're afraid of being wrong, right? Because if I'm wrong, what does that say about me? Okay. And this is one of those things, and it's probably one of the hardest things in life, is to separate me, Jason, the person, the human being that is here, from what Jason does. Okay. And so let me give you an example. And so, especially, if you have children or other people, like that you care for and that you love, Let's kind of work through this a little bit, right? So if I, as Jason, do something and I'm wrong, okay, I'm learning to tie my shoes and I get it wrong. Well, is somebody who loves me going to say, Jason, you're a bad kid because you don't know how to tie your shoes? It's okay, right? Anytime that we're learning something new, it's okay to make mistakes, right? That is I'll tell you, that is one of the biggest lies that we get told in our life, that we're not allowed to make mistakes. Of course you're allowed to make mistakes. That's how we learn, right? Imagine if you went into an NBA basketball practice, and so you're sitting there, and LeBron James or whoever it is that's your favorite player might be sitting there practicing, and he's shooting hoops. And it's like, oh, LeBron, you're stupid, man. You missed that basket. How can you miss that basket? You're not allowed to make a mistake, right? You're an MVP. You're a superstar. You're supposed to make every shot that you make that you take, right? Well, would that be plausible in real life? Of course not, right? Even people like LeBron James are going to miss and make mistakes when they're shooting baskets. It's normal, right? So we shouldn't beat ourselves up. We shouldn't beat other people up either, right? About that, because mistakes are a normal part of life. Okay. So this is why I'm coming here, why I'm trying to share this with you is, start asking yourself, well, what if that isn't true? Right. So again, if you're worried about making mistakes and about, people thinking that you're wrong, well, what if it doesn't matter? What if it's okay for me to make mistakes? How would you live your life different? Right. If you weren't limited by that belief that probably isn't true anyway. All right. Anybody else that's on with me live right now? I love doing these things, showing up, talking, because again, hopefully it is, again, exactly what you're needing to hear at this time. Um, so hit me up. I'll stay for a few more minutes. I got a few more minutes before I have to hop off for my next thing, as I'm trying to wrap up my Friday and get out of here for the weekend. But maybe in the future too, I'll pick up my guitar and play a little bit too. So if you're listening to this and you'd like to see that, then type in the comments as well, and I'll be able to see that. And maybe I'll pull out my guitar next time as well. Right? Who knows? Who knows? Um, so anyway, again, if you're on with me live, go ahead and type in a question. If you have a question, just let me know that you're here. We can kind of chat back and forth for a little bit. If not, then I'm going to kick off here in just a few minutes. I'm not going to kick off, right? Well, it's one of those that has so many different meanings, right? I could be kicking off in a football game, and football's about to start again. So that's where my mind goes. But kicking off also means dying. I don't plan to do that for a long time. So I'll be here for a long time. But again, anyway, if you're here with me, go ahead and type something in, and I'll answer your question again. If you're listening to this afterwards, so that it's not live, still go ahead and leave a question or comments below, because I do come back afterwards and try to answer questions that I can in the comments. If I can't do it justice by responding in the comments itself, then here's what I do. I actually take those questions, and those become some of the things that I'm going to talk about in future lives as well. So again, if I can't get your comment, handled that way, then I will also answer it one of the times that I come on live, because I like to do this at least 2 or 3 times a week. I'm going to get to the point probably where I'm doing this daily. Hard part is my schedule is kind of crazy, so to find a time that's exactly so that you know when I'm going to be on might be a little challenging. But again, if you're on with me live, hit me up in the comments area so that I know that you're here. If you have any questions about what we've been talking about, or any other questions, then just let me know, because I'm here. I'm here for the next, we'll call it another 30 seconds or a minute. unless somebody else has something else that you want to talk about today as well. So I really appreciate you taking time and listening to this video. It's Friday, so it's like casual Friday for me. So I'm in a t-shirt. Actually, I'm in a t-shirt most days anyway. So you're going to see me show up in t-shirts and different stuff anyway. All right. Well, I hope that you have a great weekend, and I'll catch you the next time that I am on live. Thanks. See you later.